Dozens of people in the Vancouver area of Western Canada have died in an unprecedented heat wave.
719 people died suddenly.
In late June, British Columbia was trapped in a heat dome, with many parts of the province seeing extreme, record-breaking temperatures. Now a new report shows that June's heat wave was the deadliest weather event in Canadian history.
I wanted to act as if the house was on fire, because it is.
There was a town called Lytton. I say was because on June 30th, it burned to the ground. The day before, the temperature had hit 49.6 degrees Celsius, the hottest ever recorded in our country.
It was so windy and it was so hot and the flames were just everywhere. We were then surrounded in three different ways by flames. The biggest over there, like the trees had crowned over there. And then I ran into the bedroom where Serena and Fernando were napping. She was 8 months pregnant at the time.
She was like, we have to leave right now. Pack a bag, let's go. We gotta go right now. There's a fire coming.
It was just a wall of fire that we drove through.
I felt the heat of the flames and we were running for our lives.
June 30th was a foreshadowing, a prophecy of events yet to come. People died here on June 30th, 2021.
That fire took everything from us. It took everything.
The whole town of Lytton burned. That was devastating. The news of the town burning and hearing about our people barely making it out of there.
It only took a matter of hours and it started heading this way.
This community had to evacuate and move right out of here because the fire was right around here.
We were evacuated for 34 days. The fire kind of just went right around us, eh? We were really lucky. Just jumped right over from that mountain, right over this way, and 70-kilometer-hour winds. It didn't take very long.
Emotionally, I'm still flat. It's so surreal, it's inconceivable that this could happen. So I protect myself by just looking, and I don't really feel. But what makes us humans is our ability to feel. And I want to be human again. I want to laugh and I want to cry.
It wasn't a pretty house, but it was our home. We were safe here. We were happy here. We've raised so many kids through this place. And they're messaging me now. They're like, I have nowhere to go. I don't know where to go. I'm lost. This was their safe place. This was our safe place.
This is our home. It's It's disgusting to see it reduced to rubble, and it looks like garbage, but it's our home.
There are reports a CN train sparked flames as it passed by Lytton late Wednesday afternoon during a searing heat wave. This couple says they spotted that train with flames underneath as it continued on the tracks to the nearby community of Boston Bar.
When we went by originally, it was a very small fire. And by the time we got back, it was fully engulfed. And then the train started to catch on fire, and it was carrying wood and that kind of stuff, and the train was fully engulfed.
Climate change is not a blameless phenomenon. There are names behind it. There are governments behind it. There are corporations behind it. CN Rail caused that fire in Nlaka'pamux territory, and that is what I'm talking about when I say that climate change is not a blameless phenomenon.
Investigators say they found no evidence that trains running near Lytton were responsible, refuting residents' allegations about sparks flying from the railway, igniting the dry terrain during record heat.
We did not have any direct interviews with any resident of Lytton.
My name is Richard Brown. I'm from IR 18, Lytton. My home burnt down June the 30th. It was a nightmare. I work for BC Wildfire Service. At 4:40 in the evening, I reported a smoke coming from the south end of Lytton. By 5 o'clock, the whole town was engulfed. I barely got my family out. Every year I've reported a fire caused by the railroad, and they're still denying it.
Today's about action. If you don't stop doing what you're doing, we're gonna die. How can we be doing this? We're tripling our fossil fuel export to the market while Lytton burns. You got coal heading down through trains while Lytton burns. I think somebody should phone the fucking railroad or the police. There's people on the tracks. If you can't stop the train for fucking once, then we're gonna stop it next. That's what action is.
We want transparency. We want accountability. We want honesty. We want action. We want to go home. They took everything from us. Everything. We have nothing left except each other. We want justice. They're allowed to spray the herbicide, kill the vegetation, and leave it there. The dead vegetation along the railway was the dynamite fuse that took our town out. It was the dynamite fuse that burnt our village down, that burnt our houses down, that took our lives away from us.
We lost an entire community in less than 25 minutes to a grass fire. It wasn't a forest fire and it wasn't a house fire. It was a grass fire.
Seeing us come together and be together and stand together as a nation, that is what we needed to do to get our voices heard. And I think they heard us. I think good things are going to come from this. Let's end this on a good note. And I raise my hands in thanks to you all.
All of our plants that we used to pick for berry picking and stuff like that is just toast.
A lot of our stories come from these places. It's about survival right now, and we're still in that survival mode of, you know, how do we preserve our language, how do we preserve our people.
We had more rain in 2 days than we normally get in an entire November.
State of emergency has now been declared in BC as thousands of people remain displaced from their homes and communities cut off by catastrophic flooding. The power of the water driven by climate change has devastated lives and wiped out critical infrastructure.
We needed to look at the river and get the heck out of there. It was actually an atmospheric river. On November the 15th, we were removed. We're displaced again, and some of us are still not home yet.
The flood started early in the morning. The Chief Arnold phoned me and told me, better go house to house and start telling everybody pack up and get out.
I started crying and I said to my husband, I don't want to die. I want to see my grandkids again. I'm not ready to go.
We were just scattered. You know, a lot of us didn't know where to go. It was just like devastating.
I really thought I was going to collapse in the house. I thought I was going to die in there. You know, so I was frantic. I was in the house when it cracked, you know, so it really caused trauma.
The amount of damage that happened in that 24 hours was pretty catastrophic.
It's never going to be the same.
As you can see down below is actually the Chief Anthony Joe Bridge that was originally in front of the houses over there. It got washed out.
And everybody was in shock and fear. And to be staying somewhere far from here, it's just almost like a jail.
Not long ago, our people were forced from their homes because of residential schools, because of the 60s scoop and other systemic racist policies that have come from the government. And so being forcibly removed from your home is a trigger.
It was like PTSD, and so that changed the whole dynamics of this community.
The last year, you know, was really a trying time for us with the 215 children, the fire happening and the flood and COVID taking some of our members and not being able to have funeral service. So today now we're just having to do some really major healing.
We need to pray together, we need to sing together, we need to talk together and hear each other. That's, I think, is the most important thing right now. For our community of Shackan, we need to come back together.
The purpose of the ceremonies, of course, is to help our community members move forward in a positive and hopeful way so that we're not hanging on to negativity, fear, or anxiety, that we're able to release that and focus on what we need to move forward, positivity and hope.
Bringing back that power back to our community and sharing that. They're asking for that power of that bear to heal them or take some of that pain away.
Our way has been here forever. You know, before we went off to residential school, we had it. I believe we need to get back to our tradition, ceremonies, our languages, and our culture, because we've lost a lot of that.
We stewarded the lands for thousands of years, successfully and lived in balance and harmony with nature. And now we're seeing the repercussions of being forced to live a different way with different values and different principles. And this is the end result.
Right now they're logging everything out. There's nothing up there. You go up there now, you could just see for miles. It rains and that's why you get all these floods around here. There's nothing to hold the dirt back.
The entire landscape is actually draped with clear-cut logging. This is Merritt, and these two watersheds drain to downstream Merritt, the upper Nicola and the Coldwater. The headwaters of the Tulameen, the Coldwater, and the Nicola have been heavily logged over the last 20 years, anywhere between 30 and 40% of these watersheds.
Although we know climate, extreme weather like the heat dome was a contributing factor, the condition of our forests and the way that we are managing forests are a major contributing factor as well. So it really was the perfect storm. The fires, the soils, the rain, and the steep mountainous topography all came together to give a really extreme situation.
It's not safe to live there. My heart's broken. Every time I go home now, and it just kills another piece of my heart, you know. And knowing that I had a place that I loved, a place that I invested a lot of time and energy into building, and a place that my family or any of my neighbors could come there and be safe. And you know, going there today, you know, and sitting outside and looking at, you know, what we had and what is dead. You know, it's basically dead, and it really hurts to go home and see how cold and barren my house is. I feel like a stranger in my own house. We've seen today the after effects of that fire and what a little bit of rain can do. In 15 minutes, it's brought down millions of tons of debris. All of the low-lying areas that we inhabit right now are potentially at risk. We're looking at 27 houses that could be in a danger zone. As a leader, I think that, you know, we have to start looking at the safety aspect of our people.
That the larger the flood event, the more frequent it becomes. The entire flood regime is actually becoming more frequent and more severe, as well as of a longer duration.
Get those greenhouses going, get them busy. You know, that's what keeps up all that stuff from coming down, is all them plants, all the Saskatoons, choke cherries, roses, all these big green trees, cottonwood, everything like that. All these plants are here for a reason. Without all that, you're gonna have mudslides, you're gonna have stuff coming down like big time. You're gonna run into a lot of trouble.
The forest cover is our best natural protection against hydrologic extremes such as the floods, landslides, and droughts. Research have shown that it takes 60 to 80 years after replanting for the hydrology to recover the effect that was caused by logging.
So for us to be adaptive, to be ready for future change, to be prepared as climate changes around us, we have to change all of those elements of our management. And not just tinkering, transformative change is urgently needed.
Why did I lose my home on June 30th, 2021, as well as 1,200 other people? Because we live in a country where our governments cannot say no to the status quo and the very greed that is killing humanity. You gotta stop it. Leave the fossil fuels in the ground. Quit investing in the exploitive, extractive economies and start putting your money into your children and your grandchildren.
That document, the doctrine of discovery, needs to be abolished. It needs to be taken out of the way they treat our people, because we were a government, we were a people, we had a custom, we had our own laws, we had everything prior to them coming. Sometimes we've got to come back to these places to remember, to get ourselves grounded. There's a pictograph on this rock. These sites are very sacred and very important to us because they're our teaching grounds of where we come from and who we are.
We have our ancestors here, buried here. We're not moving anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. This is our home.
Our people were never on reservations. Our home was here on the land. There needs to be some land, turned back to the original owners. We shouldn't have to negotiate for our own land back. All I want to be able to do is have a safe place for our people. All I'm asking for basically is the land to live safely. It's not just about me, it's about our young ones coming. The ones that haven't even been born yet. That's who I'm thinking about.
This is where our roots are. I'm not leaving, and neither is my wife. And whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, we'll find a way to rebuild this place. Because home is where the heart is, and my heart is with my wife.